Coffee? You do?
With
Would you
Splenda.
tell Billy to that we
Okay,
want some coffee?
we're about to go live,
It's
guys.
okay. I don't care.
I thought I'd just
I do.
make trouble.
Welcome back to the dinner party show. She is here.
Yay!
Oh wait, that's the wrong sound. She's here.
Yay!
Thank you,
She's here,
gentlemen.
and she stepped on the cat.
She stepped on a cat that the children hated, and so they're cheering. And about 30 seconds before we went live on the air, she picked up her coffee cup and said, "There's no coffee in here." And
Right.
there was a mad scramble here in the studio to get her
Coffee
more
crisis.
Coffee and Splenda.
Welcome back to the dinner party show, Mom.
I'm so grateful to be here. Thank you, Christopher.
How are you
Thank
doing?
you, Eric.
We really appreciate you coming back.
You're just my favorite gentleman in the whole world.
Aww. Where have you been? Did you go someplace recently? Wink,
I
wink,
did.
wink.
I did. I went up to Seattle, Washington.
Why'd you
and
go to Seattle?
I
man?
went up to
Let's not be so transparent in our prompting, Eric.
We're going to do 50s talk show. So, Ann, why'd you go to Seattle?
I went at the invitation of Matthew Wilder, this composer who has written the most beautiful music for a musical of Cry to Heaven, which is my third novel.
Right?
And Matthew wrote this music really quite a long time ago, and I've been listening to recordings of it for years. But right now, what he's doing is developing the musical with the Fifth Avenue Theater in Seattle. And they have the entire first act sort of worked out in terms of the lyrics, the story, and so forth. So they invited me up to hear the first act, the sing through as they call it, or the read
Okay,
through.
so it wasn't staged. It
No.
was just sort of like a read-through.
No, what?
Except singing.
Yeah, what they do. Let me explain for people who've never, seen this.
Me.
There are professional people hired to sing and speak all the parts, and they are in front of you, and they have their music stands and their microphones.
Uh-huh.
And basically they sit up or stand up at the right time, and they address one another and say the lines, and they sing the songs. And they go right through the first act. They also had a narrator who would tell us each scene change. Like now we're in the Piazza San Marco, or now we're in the Palazzo Treschi, or whatever. And it really was very, very moving, because you do see a coherent, complete half of a musical, really. And for me, it was very, very thrilling, because I love Matthew Wilder's music. I always have. And he'd written a whole lot of new songs for the musical.
Well,
and
that's
they were
exciting.
as thrilling as the older songs. So it
New
was
songs that you
wonderful.
had not heard until
right.
you saw the performance.
Exactly.
Talk
Not
about Matthew Wilder for people who may not know. He wrote a very famous pop song that Nobody's Gonna Get Me Down, I believe it's called.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
he wrote Mulan, the Disney film, which was also a musical.
Right,
Yes,
exactly.
absolutely.
And I've really known Matthew for years because of Cry to Heaven. We wanted to do a musical of it, and years ago we were sort of in business with Robert Stigwood to do it, which was a sort of interesting
wow.
adventure with a lot of really very interesting phone calls from England from Robert Stigwood.
Uh-huh.
But somehow or
How
other,
interesting.
as so often happens, that didn't come to fruition. It
Right.
didn't get done. But Matthew has hung in there, and of course he did a musical in the meantime called Princesses, which did very well in Seattle. And I don't know whether Princesses will yet go to Broadway or not. I'm not sure.
Right.
But
So
anyway,
what's the plan?
Matthew
What's
has-
next for the...
well, he's stuck with Cry to Heaven, and they're developing at the Fifth Avenue Theater
Uh-huh.
under a program there that's run by David Armstrong, a wonderful creative person connected with the theater. And it will open eventually in Seattle. That's the plan. I guess we'll be invited
So a
back
fully
when they...
staged,
Yes,
fully realized,
yes.
oh, that's wonderful.
This was like I said, the sing through of the first act. But when they have the whole thing all together, we'll go up again. There'll be a sing through, and then they'll go into casting and developing that.